the January 8th, 2024 St. Clair Shores City Council meeting to order. Amy, please call the roll.
Mayor Walby.
Here.
Councilmember Burgess. Here. Councilmember Frederick.
Present.
Councilmember Ravello.
Present.
Councilmember Rusi. Here. Councilmember Vitale.
Here.
A quorum is present.
Please stand for the, we need, hold on just a minute. We need a motion to excuse Councilman Karen. So moved. Moved by Mr. Frederick, supported by Ms. Rusi. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed. Please stand for the pledge. And we do have Tyler Lee here from Troop 273 from the Boy Scouts to lead us in the pledge. Thank you, Tyler.
Face the flag. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. We had a number of items removed from this agenda, and they will all be back on January 22nd. We needed additional information for them. Again, sometimes agendas are put together 10 days before the council meeting, so we kind of put things together, hoping we get all the documents. In this case, we didn't get everything. So again, they'll be back on the January 22nd agenda. We don't have item 2. We don't have any proclamations or presentations. Item 3, audience participation, 2-minute.
Mayor, there's none.
All right, there's none. Thank you. Item 4 is request to transfer ownership of the 2023 Class C license with Sunday sales permit, outdoor service area, dance permit, new Sunday sales permit from Omax Inc. to Alex D. John. Is petitioner here? Yes, sir. Come on up. How are you this evening?
Good, how are you?
Very good. So looking here for ownership transfer, correct?
Yes, sir.
Tell me who you are.
I'm Dennis Janowitz. I grew up in St. Clair Shores. I graduated from Lakeview High School in 2002. After high school, became a police officer. I'm currently a police officer still. A friend of mine wanted to get in the bar business, so got approval from my department to do secondary employment. And we decided to purchase a building here.
Okay. Mr. Lentz, so there was, looked like police and fire and tax had no objections, a number of items here in community.
That's correct.
We're working with them.
Yeah, that is correct. Everything has passed. This is a state approval, and we are just giving the state our approval and, not our approval, our permission to go on and authorize this transfer.
Questions? Mr. Vitale.
Sorry, Mike. There are some things noted here that pertain to the building, and it looks like they largely relate to codes being updated. Is that because the previous business was in there for so many years that these codes came about after the purchase? Anyone?
Yes, that's correct.
That's correct. Yep.
Okay. So, all right, so there's nothing there that is really bad. It's just that these things have aged out of compliance.
Yes.
All right, thank you.
Ms. Rusi.
Oh, thank you. Couple of questions. I know in the liquor license application you submitted, the business name says Colleen's Irish Pub, but it's operating under a new name now?
It's going to be Bourbon Shores Bar and Grill.
Bourbon? Okay, great.
Yes,
So when you sign up to the state, it will all be updated and everything will reflect the current name, correct?
Correct.
Okay, great. And part of the packet include an agreement regarding the issuance or transfer that I talked with Dustin about, that we're going to be reviewing to see if it needs to be, which I think it does, updated, because I think it's more about the quota escrow license, which this doesn't involve the city's one quota escrow license we have currently. This involves a transfer of a license you're purchasing or, from a private entity, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, great. So we don't need that piece of paper, but we will be hopefully updating the packet and maybe streamlining the process to be a little bit simpler for people who just want to get our recommendation. Not that we really do recommend anything going up to the state, because the state can pretty much do what it wants under the current law without even a recommendation necessarily. So we're going to be updating the packet of forms that applicants submit to us, and everything else looks good. And I think, like it's been stated, everyone signed off on it except for the CDI issues, which will be fixed during the COO process. Correct?
Correct.
Talk about your business for a minute.
We purchased the building. It's a great location. We're
Which is?
13 and a half in Harper, Masonic and Harper.
That's part, that's
I'm
why I'm
sorry.
asking if you're to like advertise
This is a
for
free
a
commercial.
second. I mean, just, just what you're going to be offering. Will you be having the same menu, a different menu, music?
We
Just
have a
talk.
completely different menu. Our kitchen's going to be open every day from 11 a.m. till 11 p.m., and then Friday, Saturday till 1 a.m. We're open 7 days a week. The only day we're planning on closing throughout the year is Christmas Day, which we just did. We're going to do a complete facelift of the building. The bar is going to be moved to the opposite side of the building. We're going to put garage doors out, a new entry door coming in. The brick on the outside, possibly stain it to a different color. Inside, I've got 3 cooks, 8 or 9 bartenders right now. We're going to pretty much open everything. Granite permits are authorized and everything. Would like to put a window on the Harper side. Just open it and make it a nice place.
Okay, great. Glad to hear it. Good luck with the new business.
Thank you so much.
Mr. Feder?
Thanks, Mayor. Yeah, good luck. Obviously, we want you to be successful there. Couple quick things. The parking lot, are you going to redo some of the parking lot? Because it looks like
I'm planning on hopefully next year, through the summer sometime.
Okay.
Doing the parking lot. Initially, right now, we have a few electrical issues that need to be fixed. I need to get permits for.
Okay.
The dumpster needs to get fenced around there. There's a lot of the main stuff that, just as you guys were saying, getting compliance.
Right.
That's going to be our main focus first. And then probably come spring, we'll try to get estimates and try to fix the parking lot a little better.
So the gray container that's in the back, is that temporary or is that permanent?
From what I was told, I need to get with the city officials. I'm not sure what the requirements on those are. The old owners stated that they were authorized to stay there. Right now, they contain any of the beer bottles for the distributors that go in there, just as a place for storage until they're picked up.
Can you get into that from the building?
No. it's
Okay,
an
so you'd
outside
have to go
entry.
outside, put it in, then somebody could come and take it out.
Yes, sir. It's padlocked, and then the beer delivery guys have a
Okay.
key.
All right, that'll be a question for CDI when you guys are going through all this other
sir.
stuff. And the only other thing that probably needs a little updating is that thing that goes around the parking lot, between the parking lot and the party store. It's like a
Guardrail.
guardrail,
That's
yeah.
another thing I'm gonna hopefully get assistance with the city for. Ultimately, I'd like to open that up in the back as well. So I know the party store that's right there, they are really open to the idea. Just for traffic safety purposes, pulling out of the parking lot, pulling in from going northbound is a little risky, especially during peak hours. I'm seeing a lot of unadvisable maneuvers there.
Okay.
So
Just
safety
coming out
people-
onto Harper, you mean?
Correct, and to avoid crashes and everything, I would like to get that opened up where we can pull out onto Masonic as well.
Okay. One of the things, if you're going to do that, just if I may, we've got a horseshoe group that plays back there, so, and you probably know about them.
Yes, I've spoke with them.
Yeah, please talk to them, because I know we had some issues before that was up with people, or even after it was up, people parking there to go to the bar. And
Correct.
Okay, this is
I know they
great.
said they're on Tuesdays, and we're planning on working with them as well, so hopefully we gain them as customers as well.
Good idea. I'd move to approve.
Support. Moved by Mr. Frederick, supported by Mr. Bello. Mr. Bello.
Welcome to St. Clair Shores. For those of you who want more on the north end, we got
There
a
it
place
is.
for you on the north end. It looks great. Check out the place, and you got a built-in crowd from the Kiteman Row, the parents part of things, the over 21 people. So it's great down there. Good for you.
Beautiful location.
Mr. Vitale.
Yeah, actually, the only thing I was going to kind of add to that is welcome. We're trying to get more going on the north end of the shores. Don't be a stranger if you have an event or decide to do some, maybe tie in with a charity or something like that. Come back and announce it during audience comments or something really. That's been a really kind of a sleepy, kind of old bar for a long time, so it'd be great to somebody bring some new life to it.
I know the old ownership used to do animal event for charity, and
For
then
Fundraiser.
the Detroit
Fundraiser.
Police Fire bagpipes. We're going to maintain all that.
Great.
And hopefully we'll be able to build onto that.
Good.
Okay.
Ms. Burgess.
I'm very excited. My friend is the the president of Four Paws One Heart, and we were just talking about your new bar. And very excited about it. I think that we continue to need a bar in that north area. And I'm very excited about the changes I heard that you brought up tonight, but I heard it a couple nights ago about the bar being moved to the other side and all the improvements to the bathroom. And so I'm very excited for you, and I can't wait to see it and visit the establishment.
Thank you so much.
Moved by Mr. Frederick, supported by Mr. Rebello to approve the request from Alex D. John to transfer ownership of the 2023 Class C SDM with Sunday sales permit, outdoor service, and dance permit to new Sunday sales permit and mixed spirit drink OMAX to Alex D. John at 32307 Harper. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? 6-0. Thank you. Have a good evening.
Have a good night.
Good luck. Thank you. Item 5 and 6 will be brought back. Item 7 is a request from the Compensation Commission for elected officials. They meet every 2 years. Dustin?
On December 5th of 2023, the Compensation Commission took the following action to recommend a 2% salary increase for the elected officials, mayor, and city council, effective January 11th of 2024. The recommendation, the council has an option to take no action by January 11th, 2024, and the salaries will take effect, or they can move to reject the Compensation Commission requiring a 2/3 vote.
Questions regarding this? Ms. Rusi?
Every time an increase is suggested or recommended by the commission, I move to reject the recommendation of the 2% elected city official pay increase, so I will move to, I know how it ends up, but I will try to move to reject.
That was moved by Ms. Rusi to reject the action of the commission, which is a 2% increase. There is no support that
That
motion.
dies for lack of support.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. There isn't a need to make a motion to approve. If there's no other decisions or questions, then the action will be approved and there will be a 2% raise for this body. Just, by the way, the mayor's increase is $213.74. The rest of the council is $168.43. So it's the total amount is $1,224.16. Seeing nothing else, we will be no motion. We will move on. Thank you. Item 8 is 8A, request for approval for the award for demolition services. CDI Director Denise Pike. Thank you.
Mayor, Council, good evening. This is a request to award a bid for demolition services at 20905 11 Mile and 22709 Local. 20905 11 Mile is a single-family residence that has been on our nuisance abatement list for a couple of years. We had met with the owner previously. We've done an inspection. The home is in significant disrepair. There's a boat in the front yard. There were some vehicles which have now been removed. We reached out to the owner to ask him if he wanted to get items out of the house. He has not responded in over 30 days. We have a court judgment to demolish this house, and we are asking you to award the bid to DeBuck Construction at a total cost of $17,150. Similarly, we have a nuisance abatement at 22709 Local. This is a garage issue. It's the home of an elderly woman. She is aware of it. Blue Star was the lowest bidder on that property at a cost of $4,200. So we are asking for council's approval to move forward with both of those demolitions.
Questions? Ms. Rusi?
Thank you. A question on the bid tab we received. It seemed like Metropolitan Environmental LLC, I think they flipped the addresses around.
They did.
And they also are then lower on 11 Mile, but they didn't bid for the asbestos abatement. So that's why we're not going with them, correct? Because they didn't be
They
a
did not
fully responsive bidder.
Right, they did not include the asbestos or any amount for asbestos abatement. There was an asbestos survey that identified asbestos materials in the glazing and in the caulk. It seemed to not be complete.
Okay, so they're not a responsive bidder, so that's why we're not going with them. Okay,
Correct.
great, thank you.
Mr. Vitale?
Yeah, we're going with the two lowest qualified bidders here, so not a whole lot to debate on that. But, I did want to thank our city attorney. This is something I started raising when the home had the two abandoned Mercedes in the driveway on collapsed suspension. The home's directly across from Lakeview High School. And it's got to be a pretty decent width lot because the home itself is 53 feet. So I think we're going to see a new home probably get put up on that lot, given our rate of infill housing here in the city. And I think it'll definitely be an asset instead of a liability and an eyesore to the city. Just a case of another delinquent property owner. I think that they're lived in Clarkston or something like that and used St. Clair Shores as a dumping ground for their junk. And through the good work of the city attorney, it's now going to come down and we're going to get something better up in its place.
So I would just note, and Mr. Erie can correct me if I'm wrong, that we will be demolishing the property, but we will not be obtaining the property. So it will still be in the ownership of,
Well, he can leave it a vacant lot and cut the grass.
Yep.
But I would think that
I
with
would hope,
the offers that would come in from builders,
I know he has received offers to buy the house as it is. It's a nice house.
no, it isn't.
Well,
It's a piece of junk. It's got asbestos in the windows. It's
true.
not anything that's worth saving, hasn't been updated in 50 years. Let's get it down.
Okay.
Let's say goodbye, and if he doesn't cut the grass, let's put him on the watch list.
Okay.
Thank you.
Mr. Rebello.
Okay, I will move to award the bid for the demolition of 20905 11 Mile Road to DeBuck Construction at a total cost of $17,150, and award the bid for the demolition of 22709 Local was Blue Star, Inc. at a total cost of $4,200.
I'll support that with a question.
Supported by Mr. Frederick. Yes, Mr. Frederick.
So for Local, it's just the garage, right?
It is just the garage
There are
from the
people-
SIP plate.
There's
Yes.
people living there, and when we take that garage down, are we going to try and clean the yard up while we're in there too? Because the yard's a disaster. There's stuff
Yeah.
everywhere.
We will take some items from the yard, but it is that homeowner's responsibility to clean the yard, and we have a number of code enforcement issues out against them right now. So we'll talk with her,
Okay.
but we will demolish the garage.
Yeah, if we can get some dialogue going, that'd be great. And was there a fire in that garage or something?
I am not sure.
Sure looked like it. The other question I had is on the 11 Mile property.
Yes.
The catamaran that's sitting outside that seems to be chained to the tree.
Yes,
We're taking that
for
out.
some time.
We're
Yes,
gonna-
we are taking it
Okay.
away.
All right, thanks, that's all I have.
Moved by Mr. Rebello, supported by Mr. Frederick to award the demolition of 11 Mile to DeBuck for $17,150, and Blue Star for the local home at 22709 for $4,200. Mr. Vitale, pencil?
Just one more point to make too. The cost of this demolition will be borne by the property owners in terms
Correct,
of
both.
going on their property taxes.
It is.
So it's not the city picking up this,
It will not be.
well, unless they don't pay their taxes,
Right.
but in one way or the other,
Somebody
will be
will pay
made
it.
whole.
Somebody will
So,
pay it.
Yeah.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed?
Thank you.
Thank you. Item 9, the consent agenda.
Move to approve.
I'd like to pull F,
F,
and I'll support the rest of it.
thank you. Moved by Mr. Frederick, supported by Mrs. Brucey to approve the consent agenda with, to move item F out of there. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Item F, Ms. Rusi.
Yep, F is the request to amend the stop sign ordinance
Yes.
to add additional stop signs at unsigned intersections. And I just wanted to thank the police department and the traffic division for taking the initiative to keep identifying these and bring them to us so we can change the ordinance. They could put a stop sign now, we could hopefully make it a little bit safer to travel around the city. And it's funny, I had a resident contact me saying, hey, I live by Larchmont and Alexander, we're having this issue. I sent it, and the chief was like, we already have this coming up on the agenda. Other locations will check this one out, see to add it. They checked it out, they added it. So it was actually a nice thing to hear that you already were in the process of assessing these to bring them to us, like I said, to make the city a little bit safer for people to travel and hopefully reduce some of the issues. So just wanted to thank the police and thank also the resident who raised this one particular issue. If there's anything else, contact council. We're always happy to forward these on to look into. So I will move to approve F.
Support.
Moved by Ms. Rusi, supported by Mr. Rebello to amend the stop sign ordinance to add additional stop signs at unsigned intersections. Mr. Vitale, question.
Yeah, I do have a question here. Some of these stop signs that we've done have made sense to me. And unfortunately, not all these do. This is a neighborhood that's existed for 70 years without these stop signs. So if we were to have residents come in front of us and say that this is a nuisance, would we be amenable to removing any of these stop signs?
I don't know, I think we'd have to investigate, we'd have to have Mr.
Because I don't think
Chief-
we talked to anyone in that neighborhood, did we?
I'm not sure. Chief? Evening.
So back a few years ago when council added these additional stop signs, at the time, I think what happened was the direction was to get all the unsigned intersections signed, just for safety purposes. When it comes down to yielding to oncoming or cross traffic and whatnot. So a different criteria was used. So basically, if it was a quiet or low traffic volume intersection with no crash history for the last 5 years, I think is what was used at the time, they said, we don't need a stop sign. My thought is all the intersections should be signed so that if there ever is a crash, well, hopefully crashes would be avoided by having the stop signs there. And then if there were to be a crash, that it would be obvious which vehicle or which driver would be at fault in that crash. So my thought is just to sign them all, and that way there's no question about who has the right of way.
Wouldn't the fault be there anyways in terms of, let's say you were, because you can't proceed straight through on some of these, you'd be turning, so it would be the fault of the driver that's turning.
If it's a turning, sure. If it's a T intersection, or a full cross intersection with north, south, east, west traffic, and no one has to stop, who's going to be at fault?
I don't
That's the
know
problem.
if any of these, I think these are all Ts. They're all three ways, aren't they?
Most of them are, yes. Maybe all of them.
Okay, well, I guess I'll keep my ear to the ground if I receive any emails, if there's residents out there,
We'll investigate.
Yeah.
maybe we can investigate, because I do think this is kind of a blanket for something that we've done without for 70 years, and now we just have 10 more stop signs to maintain.
And we've had, over the last 3 years, I've had numerous people contact either members of council or myself, or DPW workers to say, hey, can we have a stop sign put in? I feel it's unsafe. I've not had anybody say, can we get rid of a stop sign? So just an.
Usually you don't.
Right.
Moved by Ms. Rusi, supported by Mr. Rebello. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed?
No.
5-1, passes. Item 10 is updates and follow-ups from prior council meetings. Mr. Lent?
Mr. Vitale asked the DPW what DPW charges for trash cleanup at home. Refer to Mrs. Pike's email on 12/18/23. Ms. Rusi asked for an update on the estimated water bills residents are receiving and asked if antennas are still not working. Refer to Babcock's email on 1/5/2024. But I do want to state, that email did state that all 7 of our antennas are up and working, which is a very good sign. And we are taking appointments for any meters that are inside the home. If it is not taking a reading, we are coming in to change those when the residents
And
request.
how are we, at the residents' request, how are we letting residents know that there could be an issue?
If they are getting an estimate on their bill, it'll have a notification that they do have an estimate, and then the residents are able to call. If we're also seeing long-term estimates, we're also reaching out to the
Okay,
individuals.
great, that was my
Yeah,
follow-up.
Yeah.
Because some people just don't read their bill.
For sure.
Okay, thank
So we're
you.
letting them have a few times, because we have a lot that we're appointments we're doing, but those that are a long-term delinquent, we
Okay,
are.
great, thank you.
Ms. Rusi asked for a follow-up on the one-page direction sheet for the boards and commission regarding where to host meetings and funding. The city attorney is working on that. Mr. Vitale mentioned a home that has received 11 violation notices regarding rodent problems. He asked if the police could check the home while CDI is out. CDI and the PD do work cooperatively to address code enforcement violations in the community.
That disagrees with the email I received. The email that I received said that we didn't take further enforcement action because the person knows the hours that CDI works. So where did we fall down here?
I can tell you the PD does help out code enforcement, and they do issue violations.
So did CDI go to PD and say, hey, we've got a guy who knows when our people leave? Could you guys check up on it and write a report? It sounds like that didn't happen.
We can find out when your situation, but I can also say.
Well, the
when we
department
get-
head's right there.
I'm not certain, Councilman, if we did on this particular address, we may not have. But
You know, that was a question that I asked how many weeks ago? And you've got a guy who violated 11 times. You told me in an email, he knows when our inspectors leave. Did it ever occur to you to maybe call across the street? Because you say you have a relationship with the police department. And say, hey, we've got a guy who's flaunting this ordinance, causing a rat problem. He does it after our people go home. Can you send an officer over there to take a report?
We do that
But we didn't.
in cases, though.
We do.
I guess I stumbled onto the one.
Mr. Rubello asked if the floodplains are addressed in the master plan. The master plan update will include a chapter on environmental resiliency. We did have one resident, Andrea Calhoun, St. Clair Shores resident, spoke on increasing safety and the police presence at the 9 Mile and Greater Mac area. The officers have been directed to increase patrols in the 9 Mile/Harper area as well as other retail areas. That's it.
Can I follow up on the first one? Because you got that a little quicker than I could pull up the email on my phone.
Okay.
So, can I see your sheet here? It says, refer back to Pike email of 12/28/23. First of all, I think it would be a good idea, just going forward on these future updates, not to make that a reply, because sometimes when these questions get asked, they get asked so the residents are informed, and the residents don't read the emails that I get. And the email that I got on that says, do we have a standardized fee for cleanups? Can you provide? And that was to someone at DPW, I assume. It says no standard fee for cleanup. Equipment time. So what does that mean?
So we don't have a standard fee that we charge. It is based on equipment and time. So our equipment has a per hour per diem that is charged, and our employees have a per hour per diem. So if I have to go out to a resident and I have to spend 15 minutes, and if I have to go out to a resident and I have to spend an hour, those prices are going to be different.
Okay.
So there is no standard price. It is purely based on time and equipment.
Okay, so then this is the question I ask you. About the smallest dumpster I can have brought to a house for a cleanup is about $300. Now, I would think DPW, if I put all this trash out on the curb because I'm a bad landlord and I don't want to pay for a dumpster, and I just want to let it sit there, we have DPW come out with a Packer truck. I would think they can clear a curb in 15 minutes. So does that mean we're charging that person quarter of an hour for DPW time, and let's say it's 4 guys or something, ends up $100?
The time and equipment is also based on their salary plus their fringe benefits. I can promise you that it is not even close to $100.
Okay.
If it is
Well, then
4
what is
people
it?
for 15 minutes, I can get you who
How about-
works and all that kind of stuff.
So
Yes, if you want a civil violation, we can also approach that with council.
Well, you realize-
To look at civil violations, which has also been on our stuff.
Yeah, for a long
So are they
time.
being charged? Yes. Are they being charged time and equipment? Yes.
Are they being charged less than a dumpster? It sounds like it.
Well,
And nobody can tell me otherwise.
okay.
So you're looking for, you want to know that and possibility of a minimum rate.
Yeah, I thought that was pretty
Okay.
well
I don't-
expressed at the last meeting.
I don't recall that, but it could have been. I don't remember.
I made the same analogy. It's cheaper to let DPW, cheaper to make a mess.
I understand.
Call DPW to clean it up than it is to have a dumpster do it, which is the right way to do it.
Right.
Ridiculous.
Is that one of the items that we are going to talk about or be part of when we do the,
Civil infractions will be part of the work study agenda. Yes, it is correct, Mayor.
so this will fall under it?
Yes, civil violations for not cleaning up their trash for correct.
Okay, thank you. That's updates from follow-ups from prior meetings, well, the last meeting, actually. And then we have item 11, comments by individual council. Would have gone to Mr. Karen to start, but it'll go to Mr. Finer.
All right, thanks, Mayor. First off, relative to signage, I did get 2 calls on a no stopping, standing parking sign on, I think it's Red Maple, right there by Mac. It's only about 10 feet from the corner, and so people go past that sign, probably don't even see that sign when they get there, and then stand there, and then get out and go into the tropical smoothie place, and then there's always congestion, especially if there's a car on both sides. So I guess my request would be to get another no stopping, standing parking sign put up farther down. So now there's 2, past, if we can put it past the wings that are on the building so we don't get in the way of everybody going there to take selfies too. But that would help a lot to alleviate some of the congestion at that end. And frankly, it's a safety issue. If we had a fire truck trying to get down that street, it would be impossible to get it through with 2 cars on both sides. And then the other thing I had was, I can talk about this at the next meeting. There was somebody who requested a cut-in at the next street over by the water place, the new water place. But let me go through some library announcements very quickly. STEAM-related hands-on projects at STEAM Stories on Saturday, January 20th from 3 to 4. This program is for kids ages 6 to 10. Registration started today and is available online through the library's website. It can also be done via in-person or via phone, 771-9020, or email scsyouth@libcoop.net. Teens who would like to help the youth services librarians prep for programs are invited to a teen volunteer session on Saturday, January 20th, 10 a.m. to 11:30 a.m., and registration begins January 16th for that. Kids 1 to 3 and their caregivers are invited to toddler drop and play at the library Thursday, January 18th, 10 to 11:30. Toys will be available in the Gilsdorf meeting room. No registration is required. The Friends book sale is in the used bookstore on January 23rd from 11 a.m. to 6 p.m. This is a big deal. A lot of people go to this. And by the way, everything in the store is going to be half off. Mayor.
Great.
I know you'll be in there.
Oh, for sure.
And then SCAMS, which is Stopping Crimes Against Macomb Seniors, will be speaking at the library on January 31st at 2 p.m. Learn how to protect yourself and your loved ones from fraud, identity theft, etc. It's free. It's in the library meeting room, and no registration is required. And here's another one for you, Mayor. The Selinsky Green Farmhouse Museum has a new exhibit on the home front during the Civil War from January 10th to April 10th. There's also going to be a 30-minute lecture at 2 p.m. at the farmhouse on January 10th, then again on the 13th, on how the war changed the lives of women and children at the time. Again, no registration is required. We're still getting these things. If you got a notice about your water line, not your sewer line, your water line, you probably never need this insurance. I know Chris Vitale talked about it a couple meetings ago because I gave him the one that was sent to me. Well, I didn't respond, so they sent one to my wife, right? So I don't get it.
Maybe she doesn't watch council meetings.
Maybe. She probably doesn't. So with that, I'm going to say, how about those Lions? Go Lions. And then also tonight, go Blue, right? All right. I see a fan in the audience. Way to go. All right. That's all I have, Mayor.
Thank you. Mr. Vitale.
Yeah. I wanted to ask about a couple of the fire damaged properties in the city that I brought up before, one of them being the former Hearst Appliance site, which seemed like that kind of got going, took the roof off of it, but then it seems like now it's just stalled again. I haven't seen anybody working on it. Is there a timeline there to keep that progress going forward?
They are required to have a structural engineer provide a report. So they did start doing the work, but then they were found to have some deficiencies, and so we're waiting for a structural analysis on the building, which is at their expense.
Any idea when we might start seeing progress there again?
I am not certain of that, but I will find out.
Maybe start the clock on something. And then speaking of starting the clock, I appreciate that the fire damage structure on Harper near just north of 9 Mile has been cleared. all the rubble and everything's been taken away, so that's safety hazard kind of out of the way. But it would be good to see something on the sides of those walls and the floor there besides a bunch of char. So maybe start the clock on getting them to paint those walls, clean that site up a little more than just removing the rubble.
So we have been in conversations with the city attorney, who has been in conversations with their attorney about what the plans for that building are. And at this point, they believe that they will rebuild, but I also agree that those walls are not satisfactory.
Okay. All right. Well, I know everybody wants to watch some kind of sports game tonight or something, so I'll keep it short. And that's all I have tonight.
All right. Well, thank you. Ms. Burgess,
Just one thing, I just wanted
Grab
to
your
do a
mic.
plug for Aquafreeze.
grab your mic.
Oh, sorry. I always forget about the mic. Just wanted to do a plug for Aquafreeze.
Great.
I'm very saddened that all our lights are coming down, and this is the last weekend for the Tunnel of Lights. But Aquafreeze is this weekend, Saturday from noon to 9, and Sunday from noon to 6. Lots of food trucks were out there, a petting zoo, ice carvings, horse-drawn carriage rides. They're going to have a beer tent, of course, live music on Saturday and Sunday, putt-putt golf, hot chocolate fire and ice tower. So a lot of people went in sponsorships for this, and it's just going to be a great time. And it is the last weekend for the Tunnel of Lights. So sad time for us.
Thank you. Mr. Rebello.
Yes. Few quick items. Hearst Appliance relocated they located to where the Paul's Pools was, sort of next to the Dairy Queen. They are in there. They're planning on going back to the location they were at. There's some insurance issues though, because the insurance company somehow didn't give them enough money. Now they have to sue the insurance company. So it'll be tied up a little bit, okay? Just talked to the guy today, ironically.
Thanks, Dave.
Okay?
No, I'm thanking you
Oh,
for going
okay.
out and finding out.
Okay, I was just
the extra
talking to
work
him. I
try
saw
clean
him
the
out
city
there
up.
today.
Appreciate that.
And then there'll be something to do with a double, then they're gonna there'll be another lawsuit involved with it to try to get that going. But they are hoping to get back to Trombley and Harper. And the guy that burned out the second guy, ironically, is right next to him. He's in the building right next to him. They share buildings.
Fire shelter.
Okay, so he's hoping on coming back too. And the cut-in Ron you were talking about with the water store, I'm all in for that. They need that. So we can talk about that maybe before then. Go blue.
You. All right, thank you, Mr. Rebello. Ms. Rusi.
Thank you. Just real quick about the previous vote we took tonight for the Compensation Commission, and where the vote we didn't take because my vote to reject wasn't supported. Like I have every year since we started getting these increases back in 2017. I've been writing the amount of the increase cumulative back to the city in a check made out to the city of St. Clair Shores every year, earmarked at things like the community garden, waterfront, the senior center, library, parks and rec. This year it was the Council of Nation Memorial Project and the Adaptive Playground Program. This year the check was $485.69, adding $168 to that. And this check I'll write probably in November-ish will be $653.69, which will represent the amount of increases we received to the salary since 2017. I'm saying this because I want residents to think I kept the benefit of the raises I have affirmatively tried to reject each and every time. And I've stated the reasons before previously, which is why I didn't do so tonight. I think we're compensated more than enough for our time and associated expenses. We don't do this for the salary, I hope. And we knew what it paid when we decided to run. So, Happy New Year. I'm more of a go green person. I graduated Michigan State Law School and they gave me a full paid academic scholarship. So I don't care what they do sports wise. I will always say go green, but I will say go blue tonight. I did kind of wear a blue shirt today. So go blue tonight.
Happy birthday to all.
Okay, thank you.
Ms. Rusi, thank you. Item 12, City Manager Report.
No report.
Item 13 is audience participation. Do we have anyone in the audience who'd like to speak? Seeing none, we'll go to Mayor's comments. And again, I just want to wish everyone a Happy New Year, and I think it's going to be a great 2024 in St. Clair Shores. With that, item 15 is request to meet in a closed session as permitted by state statute 15.268, section 8E, to consult with its attorney regarding trial or settlement strategy in connection with a specific pending litigation. We'll need a roll call vote for
Move to go
that.
into closed session?
So that'll be moved by Mr. Frederick,
I'll support.
supported by Ms. Rusi. Roll call vote, Amy.
Councilmember Frederick.
Aye.
Councilmember Rusi.
Aye.
Councilmember Burgess.
Aye.
Councilmember Rebello.
Aye.
Councilmember Vitale.
Aye.
Mayor Walby.
Aye. Good night. We will now go into closed session. Have a good evening. Thank you.